Hello, Flosstube.
Greetings.
I'm Laura.
I'm Joe.
Welcome to the Slovak Farm.
This is the farm where we grow cross-stitch.
One stitch at a time. Today is Monday, July the 17th. We're back for another Flosstube.
Yay! Sorry, it's a little later than we normally do because things. So I'm a little tired.
Stuff and things. As in, family reunion was over the weekend. My brother and sister-in-law and their children went for the one day they were able to. And by the end of the day, somehow, my nieces had managed to convince my parents and my brother and sister-in-law that they needed to spend the week with Grandma and Grandpa. So, yeah.
Whole weekend's been discombobulated.
The whole week is
not
now,
a bad thing, but still discombobulated.
Not what we anticipated.
Nope.
So goes my life. At least they're not staying at my house.
You'd let them.
No, I wouldn't, because our house is a disaster. Nobody.
You just need 2 weeks' notice.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nobody deserves to live in this messy of a house. All right. Well, we hope you guys had a good week. We had a good week. I forgot to pull up comments. So we're going to do this just real quick here. Alright. Let us shout out our commenters.
Jeep Go Stitches. Angie, I believe.
Yes.
Susie Scott. Bridget. Which one's Spooky?
I can't see it from over here.
I said, which one's Spooky?
That's Janet.
Janet. And
Teresa.
And PD Stitcher tomorrow.
Yes. So, thank you all for your comments. The Under 1,000 sub club is being worked on. Morty from Mad Morty Stitches and Dawn from Frosty X Stitches kind of took it over. I have now jumped on board with helping them. We're working on going through the list and vetting them. So when I hear from Morty that the list is ready to be published, I'll share it with you. It might be ready to be published and I just haven't heard from her yet. Anything's possible. It was a chaotic weekend. It wasn't chaotic. It was just busy and my phone got forgotten on a table. I ignored it most of the weekend.
You didn't forget it, you ditched it.
I ditched it. I would rather spend time with my family. And this is the family that likes to spend time with each other and talk and not sit on their phones. So yeah. Alright, so I'm going to try to buzz through. We're going to try to buzz through this quick. Because, it's 8 o'clock already. Yeah, we need to get this done. Alright. Alright, we've shouted out our commenters, so moving on to
Whippies! Whip, whip, whip.
Whips.
Yay! I actually have stuff. It is Ink Circles, Elemental Dragons, Fire!
Fire!
This is on 16 count Ada gunmetal, hand dyed by this lady.
Princess Wave.
I think this part I did, and then I did in here. Not much, but I got some progress. Hopefully one day this week, actually maybe not this, but actually probably tomorrow, I'll probably try to get some more stitches in, because I did have fun.
Well, yeah.
We just had a very hectic, I brought this with me and never had a chance to stitch it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mainly because I was either dealing with hanging out with family, or I was the only person in the house and all 3 of the dogs there wanted my attention.
Yes, we took our dog with us, and then my aunt has 2 Goldens, and everybody enjoys when we go down there and our dog goes, because they love, the 3 dogs are very social and gentle and calm, and it's so funny, because everybody goes, Laura, your dog is so calm. Laura, your dog is so calm. Y'all ain't ever seen calm dogs before? My aunt and uncle's two Goldens are very calm. But it's like, y'all ain't never seen calm dogs before?
When anybody thinks of a greyhound, they think of the 10 seconds of dogs racing.
Which is probably true.
Like, oh, your dog's really hyper. No, my dog's like a cheetah. They run for 2 minutes and then they don't move for the rest of the day.
Excuse me. Gotta open up the book. Alright.
I thought of something real quick before you start. Did I tell you the other reason I didn't want to cross stitch?
Why?
Could you imagine trying to find that needle if it fell into one of those dogs' fur?
Hell yeah.
You wouldn't until it was bleeding.
We don't want that. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So this is... I have written down what I stitched on, what my stitch counts are. I don't have what Daily 30 prompt they went with. So, I'm not going to try to remember that right now. Okay.
Do you at least have the photos?
Yes, I have my start photos and all of that jazz.
Because I realized today that I never took a picture of my stitch so that you couldn't do that with mine. So before I start stitching on it this week, I'm going to take a picture of it and send it to you. Because of course I figured...
I'll probably take a picture of it like when we get done with this.
Okay. That works.
We'll go from there. Okay. First up, I worked on Dressmaker's Daughter. I can tell you that I stitched this on Monday. Because I took this to... Last Monday, I took this to stitching in... What'd you call it? At the cafe. And everybody's like, oh, that's such a pretty project. And I'm like, yes, it's quite ambitious. And they're like, oh, it looks really great. It doesn't look that bad. Mind you, this is on almost a half yard of fabric. And then I go, this is a very ambitious project. And they're all like, wow. So, however,
you got enough beads in there to launch a little mouse war.
This is true. However, I have broken down the ambition. What I have done is I have all of the flosses for spring, and that is where I have started, and that is what I am working on. I have broken out all of the flosses for winter, so when I'm done with spring, I will go on to the winter section. I will do one section, because you guys know I stitch in hand. I will do one section and finish it, one section and finish it. And then I'll come over here, do summer, then autumn. And I will eventually break these down into the colors that each of them need. Now there's there's overlapping colors, but winter has a sheet, has a little, winter has its bloop 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 list. Spring has its list.
Can't see it on the camera because camera?
Can't see it on the camera because camera. It's, you know, a sheet folded in half. And then summer and autumn. That is how I've made this a little less overwhelming on myself. So, here is where we started. And here's where I got to with 453 stitches. This is on Dark Brown by the Slovak Farm. So, most of it's up here in this part. I did do some of this bottom of the dress, too. But most of it's up here in where the mannequin top is. There we go. We have focus now.
I didn't know it was out of focus. I was just dancing to dance.
It was out of focus, but when I moved my hand, it went back into focus, so.
Oh, I thought my dancing might have done something.
There's my lovely, ambitious project. Stuff it. I have it in a big bag because it's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah? I mean, I think you got more beads that can fit in a smaller bag just by themselves.
Yes. And I made my bags myself. So. Then I pulled out. Oops, it's buried. I pulled out Pumpkin Patch by Primrose Cottage. I have ambitions of finishing this before the end of the year. I think I can. Depending on...
I think I can.
Of course, I need to apply it to more than 200-piece stitch things. Here's where it was when it started. Here's where we got to. We did 400. I did 426 stitches on it. The Scarecrow and corn stalks. Started the corn stalks. So this is on a custom piece of 32 even weave because I was trying to figure out getting a color and it didn't work. That was an adventure. You'll hear about that when I start the project for it. I was testing this for. Like I said, I'm trying to get this done quick. Alright. Then we pulled out Supernatural. I did this actually for two things. I did it for the Sal prompt and I did it for one of the monthlies. Sorry about that. Alright. Here's where it started. The weather report just popped up on my computer, and it is polluted air. We are under horrible smoke quality right now.
Like I have masks now.
It's gonna be a long summer.
You think it's gonna be over in the summer?
No, it's probably not gonna be over to winter. Okay. Here is where I got with Supernaturals. 623 stitches on it. I took this with me on Thursday to the Medina Embroidery Guild of America's Stitch in Public Day, and everyone was absolutely fascinated with it. They thought it was very unique, which I like. So I finished the vampire.
Dun dun dun.
The vampire is all done, and now I have started over here. This is the unicorn block. When she got down here, she did not release them like this row and then this row. It was like the vampire, then the fae, and then whatever's under the gnome, and then whatever was under the banshee. And I realized she did that so she could do certain ones, release certain ones last. I'm going to finish this row and then come down here, do the bottom row and the bottom border. This is on
The
Heirloom by the Slovak Farm.
I'm sorry, I was checking the baby crib. I just realized it was there, and I'm like, what the frick is that supposed to be? Oh, a changeling.
A changeling.
Yeah, can I put this down now?
Yes, you can put this down. So, and then, yes, when I finish Supernatural, I will buy and start Cryptids. Cryptids was done. Cryptids was released first, so a lot of people are like, because a lot of people know Cryptids came first. Why did I do Supernaturals before Cryptids? Because
That was the one you heard about first?
No, I heard about Cryptids, but the thing with the Witchy Stitcher is she does a lot of Halloween, a lot of dark patterns, but she also does a lot of witchy. I mean, she's the Witchy Stitcher for a reason. She does a lot of, I guess, pagan themed. We could call them. I don't quite know how to classify them, because to me, saying anti-Christian, they're not really anti-Christian. They're just not Christian. They're alternatives to Christianity.
Pagan.
Yeah, which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I kind of wanted to see what Cryptids looked like before I stitched it. When Cryptids fully came out, then she announced she was doing Supernaturals, and I was like, I'm just going to do Supernaturals first, because I know I'm going to like it, because I liked Cryptids. There are a couple of things on a couple of the Cryptids that I have, or the Supernaturals that I have changed. The Changeling had upside down crosses on it. The Demon has upside down crosses on it. The Unicorn has an upside down cross on it. I just left those off. I'm leaving those off. There you go. Okay. And then we'll go on to what I took with me to stitch on our little family reunion. Saturday afternoon, it rained us out of the lake, so I did get some stitching time. But then I was also up butt crack early Saturday morning and Sunday morning. So
Everybody's overtired, so I'm probably going to bed in an hour.
Yeah, so I was able to get some stitches on that. I was able to get some stitches when we got home on Raven Queen, because it was her turn in the rotation for the Olympics. I've yet to decide if I'm going to do more on her next weekend for the Olympics slot she's in, or just...
More Raven Queen!
I mean, I could.
The decision's been made.
I do have a feeling this Olympic slot, because it's 1850. Yes. So this is the Olympics for Sydney, Australia, and it is 1,850 stitches. I have a feeling it might end up being 3 weekends. Technically, I have until September to do the Sydney, Australia games and then the 2004 Athens, Greece games. I have until September, because that's the quarter, to finish them and be on target for finishing them on time. So, I did 478 stitches on her.
Do you want to show them the before?
Oh, yeah, the before. Here's the before. And here's the after. 478 stitches. She's on Raven, 32 Raven by the Slovak Farm. We need to go up.
I'm going to scrunch the top a little bit.
That's okay. Because my stitches were all in the skirt. Down here in this, filling in this red, filling in this red. There's some gray that I filled in. I have come up over here. I'm going to start going back down the skirt this way. So we have a skirt to finish, and then there's a couple of step strips, like single stitch strips that are steps.
And then you have her thighs to do as well. It looks like there's a blank spot there.
Yes, and I have to figure out the center of this dress, because this is the specialty floss that I subbed for the Karen Water Lily. That was all of this. This is supposed to be equivalent to DMC 816. It is not. It is darker. So this is why I had challenge. You remember a couple times ago, we had challenges getting these reds right. I ended up doing this color also for the darkest color in the stripes, which is somewhere in here in places. I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to balance that. You can put it down. I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to balance that so that the colors look right, work right. I may do the blending where you use one strand of one color, one strand of another color. Because I think there's two colors in there that I'll need to do. There is some metallic that's going in there because I'm not doing beads on her, I'm just doing metallics. I wasn't about to try to convert the beads. I mean, I could have, but...
considering your dress insanity, you're good.
I mean, I could have. I wanted to do metallics more than I wanted to do beads. I felt
it's your project. You can do what you want.
Better. So we'll see. We'll see when we get there. We shall see when we get there. That has been my stitching for the week. We haven't even been filming for a half an hour, so this may only be a half an hour episode. Which I think is right on target where we've been lately.
Yeah.
There is no haul. No haul for you.
Shouldn't I be saying that to you?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no haul.
Moving on to...
So, moving on to plans and announcements.
Okay.
Plans plans and announcements.
Time to go to bed. I haven't thought that far ahead. Tomorrow I actually want to try to get some stitching in, but
Okay.
I'm exhausted. Still recovering from the weekend.
I'm down with that. It's Shark Week. Donna.
It's a bad week.
To be a seal. Shark Week technically is next week. I need to get into our HBO Max because they're not putting any of the Shark Week stuff on Discovery Plus yet, and I'm wondering if it's on Max. Or if they are just waiting until next week to put it all up.
Probably waiting until next. They're probably going to simulcast it.
I don't know. Last year and the year before, they had like extras from Shark Week. They had like more stuff than they showed on air, and then it was like same day post. It's like what they do with Ghost Hunters, Expeditions. I know those shows that I watch. It posts the day it airs.
Did you see who's hosting Shark Week?
Jason Momoa. Aquaman.
Hey, you know what's really funny?
But I will never watch those movies.
You want to know what's really funny?
What?
I know him from Stargate Atlantis.
Yes, Stargate Atlantis. Oh, I do too. Believe
Because he had the cool. Because he was the one with the cool gun. He had the laser super long revolver thingy.
He wasn't my favorite on Stargate Atlantis.
But he filled the need they had when he joined.
Yes. So I did the prompts for this week. So my prompts are all it's 5 different sharks. I'm not gonna go dig it up and read it to you guys. Sharks. It's 5 different sharks, and I talk about the sharks and their characteristics. And then I match the prompts to the sharks. So, the first one is to stitch on your lazy whip, or that is the whip that you kind of go to when you need something easy to stitch on, mindless to stitch on. I have a couple of options, but I'm not gonna lie. Arctic Blast really fits the bill for this, and I want stitches on Arctic Blast.
Okay, so Arctic Blast.
So that's what I did.
Okay.
Stitch on a whip, on your most aggressive whip. That is the whip you stitch on and just like want to keep going and going and going and going, and I do that with a lot of whips. But when I looked at stitches, things I hadn't stitched on yet. Spirit of Christmas is the one that jumped out on me. That is the Sister Lou Stitches project from last year's Christmas mystery box.
You're not allowed to determine how many tokens are awarded, are you?
No.
Okay, because I would have done something cute for that one.
What?
I would have made a third option for more tokens.
What?
Oh, because you want to stitch on it. Keep adding more tokens the more you do.
Well, there's build a challenge, but anyways. So I went with that. Stitch on your largest whip or a blue whip. That would have been for, I believe, the blue shark, because we tied the color into it. But again, Arctic Blast, because it has a lot of blue on it. I may have possibly went with that prompt, and it doesn't have to all be in blue, but your project with the most blue on it, I may have actually wrote that with a purpose so that I could stitch on Arctic Blast. I'm not gonna lie, this go around, a couple of these prompts were written with the purpose of I wanted to stitch on a couple of things that I knew I hadn't stitched on yet.
I love you.
I love you. Stitch on your smallest or your most unique whip. I have a multitude of Christmas ornaments. I'm not going to figure out which one the smallest is. I'm just going to pull out what's left to be finished and say, Joe, pick one.
Okay.
Okay. Stitch on a whip you call by a different name. I looked at what I had left, and I do not intentionally do this, but I will frequently call Victorian Way Victorian Row. It's not intentional. I genuinely screw it up, but it still applies.
Okay.
So I didn't give Joe a lot of options this week.
You didn't give me any.
Well, you'll have your option of picking out the Christmas ornament, and technically you have the option of picking out what I stitch on to finish to work on my and she's an option because I had stitched on she was the last one I had to stitch on in the rotation. So,
I really want to see that one done.
I do too.
No, I don't have my own ulterior motives.
I do too.
I'm not going to lie, I do have favorites that you stitch, and when you give me options and I see them, I try to cram them into as many prompts as I can.
So as you can see, there's like 2 lines over here that are steps, 3 lines on this side that are steps. I am not doing the border. I just decided I didn't like it. And a couple rows on, I have like 2.5 rows on finishing out the skirting. And then the center column. So I don't have much to do to finish on her. I really did not expect her to be as close to a finish as she is. Oh, my most aggressive whip. I really want to stitch on Spirit of Christmas.
Hey.
Every time I have put that on an option, you have not picked it.
Well,
I am overriding. I'm using my ability to override.
I don't know what Spirit of Christmas is.
It's the one Sarah designed for the Christmas mystery box last year.
Oh! I didn't know that!
And actually, it's kind of close to being done too.
Okay,
I don't think it'll get done with the prompt at this go round, but it'll be almost done.
Okay.
I'm using my power of override being the stitcher that stitches the stitches.
Hey, honey. You didn't hear me. Never mind. I'm not going to talk anymore.
Alright. So, that's what I'm stitching on for next week. That is plans, announcements, anything you see that you would like to order. Contact me and I can order it.
Might take an undisclosed amount of time with one of your distributors, but the other stuff should be fine.
Anticipate 5 to 7 weeks with one of the distributors. If you ask me for something that is from the distributor, I will tell you that. I will be upfront with you about shipping times if you message me and say, hey, I want this, what's the shipping time on it? I will. So that's that. I don't know if I announced it. There will not be a 12 Days of Christmas or a Christmas Advent mystery box this year. I just can't guarantee getting the supplies that I need from the one distributor to do something like that again. So what Sister Lou Stitches, Sarah, and I determined to do was, because she had already designed out a lovely project for us to put in the mystery box, and it's not going to happen. We are going to do an exclusive with the Slovak Farm. I have finally gotten, just before we left for the weekend, I finally got all of the flosses I need to send her with the fabric for her to do the model stitch. And so we'll send that off, and then she and I will talk about when we're going to release it. I would like to release it in like maybe, I mean, I know it's a Christmas thing, but I personally would like to release it with enough time for stitchers who want to be able to stitch it for this Christmas.
So Halloween?
I was thinking probably around then. I will talk to Sarah once she gets it model stitched.
Okay.
So that is announcements. So what would we like the people to do, darling?
Have a good evening.
Great week.
That too. Sorry, I'm tired. Please like, comment, subscribe, bell notification thingy bobby. Because that's what YouTube wants us to tell you.
And share with your friends.
Yeah, there's this weird married couple that talks about cross-stitching for a half hour. You might find them funny.
We're funny. Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope you had a good time, and we will see you